Welcome to episode 3 of Let's Talk Football, Sis. Fantasy football for the motherfucking girls, by the girls, baby. We are so fired up for round 3 as a parent by our intro here, but we cannot wait to get into this episode because we are going over the meat and potatoes of fantasy football this week. And honestly, we're super hyped because we are just so goddamn grateful. So grateful for the amount of outpouring of support and just the messages from women like, thank you so much for helping me feel confident going into fantasy football. And that's exactly why we did this.
Hell yeah. And we both come from very male dominated, hobbies, golf, lifting, the fitness space. And hearing women say, I'm comfortable, I know I want to be here, I know I want to do this, is literally made my whole year already.
Yes,
so I am so excited to keep doing this and hopefully keep hearing that positive feedback. And I get to do it with my sister, which is even better. So love being here. Love everybody who's watching. Love everybody who has given us all that support. Keep it up because it makes me smile.
Same here. Well, we want you guys to do a couple things for us. Number one, get a notepad, get a pen, pencil, notepad in your phone. Don't give a shit. Grab something to take some notes because you're going to need it. We're going to rapid fire so much information at you.
Oh, yeah.
But we really want to go through every single round of your draft and talk player strategy. Who are we looking at? What names are you likely going to be taking in these rounds? That way you are doing no panic picking when you walk into your fantasy football draft. Second thing I want you to do, grab a drink of choice, okay? Let's do a little cheers together, shall we? I got a little Diet Pepsi, and it's got a little Penguin City beer, and get comfy, buckle in, and let's talk a little football, okay?
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. So like I said, we are going to go over a bunch of different information, specifically talking about that 2025 draft strategy, who to pick, when to pick. We're going to use ADP. We're also going to give you our hot takes. Who do we love? Who do we hate? All of that kind of good stuff as we move through this episode.
So we're going to be talking about all things updated round by round picks, kind of based on ADP. Again, we want to follow ADP, but we're going to kind of stray from it here and there. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of tell you when to draft running backs, when to draft wide receivers, kind of why draft spot matters. We're going to talk about what we would do, kind of what our thoughts are on who should be the first pick, in your draft. Top names to target early, guys you've probably heard tons and tons of times. And then guys to avoid, stay way far away. Don't even come by me with a 10-foot pole. Bye. We're going to talk about mid-round steals that are just going to make the people in your league jealous because you listen to us, you know what's up, and you've got some good steals in that mid-round. Late-round sleepers and handcuffs, maximum upside there. So make sure you are taking notes there. My opinion, most important part. And then a QB tight end strategy. So you're not scrambling at the end for that onesie position. You're really picking a solid guy, solid players to build your team.
Absolutely. And we just wanted to give a little tidbit as you walk into your draft this year. Couple things. Number one, you always forget what happened in your fantasy football draft last year. New draft, new players, new teams, new coaches, new everything. Okay. So a little brainwash from what happened last year. We're walking into this year with a whole new perspective and mindset. Right. That also means your draft strategy has to look unique for what this year's offering. And this year, it's very, very clear that the wide receiver class is deep. There's a lot of picks. There's a lot of great players all over that draft board. The running back room is more limited. So there's not a lot of running backs to go around. And there's a lot of old. Okay. And we joke about this all the time because me and Andrew are in our 30s and most of these grown-ass men are younger than us.
Old guys.
They're younger than us. But we have to understand that takes a beating on your body. And it's just a higher risk of injury the older these guys get, and their performance just drops. They can't keep up with the rookies, which is fair. Neither can I. Okay. No. That's what I want you to keep in mind as we walk in. The other couple things you're going to hear us talk about, so just want to do housekeeping. We're going to talk a little bit about quarterback wide receiver stack. This means you're going to stack a quarterback and wide receiver from the same team. We love doing this, specifically as the draft progresses. You might notice that something like that falls to you. We'll talk about that. We're also going to touch a little bit on quarterback tight end stack, same concept, quarterback and tight end from the same team. We'd really only consider that for 2 tight ends. In our personal opinion, Trey McBride, Kyler Murray, George Kittle, Brock Purdy. Those are 2 people that we would definitely have a stack with. And again, we'll touch on that a little bit more, but just wanted to get that out of the way first. And now let's dive into rounds 1 and 2. So round 1 and 2 are our core starters. These are going to be your high cash cow point scoring guys that you are starting every single week. Okay.
Right.
So in season, when we're deciding sit start, these guys are not sitting, they are starting unless they're on a bye week.
Exactly.
These guys are great for two reasons. Number one, they're bringing consistency to your team. They're going to, on their bad weeks, score like 10 to 15 points. And on their good weeks, they are dropping a 40 burger on your team and you are winning the fucking week. Okay. So that's who we're going to get into first. And we're going to do running backs. So keep in mind, we're not doing anything in order of like, this is who I would take first. I just want to cover the running backs who are typically going in round one. So Ange, kick us off with some running backs.
Saquon Barkley would be first. Now we have a little bit of apprehension about him, just about regression from last year. He had a really awesome season, maybe some injuries that could happen just because he's getting old, quote unquote, older. So, maybe a little bit more injury prone here, but he does have a really solid offense to work with. So could have another standout year. Bijan Robinson would be another one. Now he is a younger guy, so he is probably a little bit more consistent. He was consistent last year, even with kind of a weird, odd Falcons offense. So he steps into this year with a solid new quarterback in Penix Jr., kind of who he finished the year out with last year, which was like so amazing for him. So I think he is going to be kind of the cornerstone of your team. If you were to scoop him up, he's on my radar. Put him on your radar. Note that down, ladies, because Bijan Mustard is the man.
Bijan himself, we love it. Those guys too, Barkley and Bijan, are most likely going to go earlier in your draft. So if you have a pick somewhere between picks 1 and 5, might get a chance at one of those guys. And to me, the Mustard man, I'd be all over that guy. He's my favorite. Some other guys to look at. Gibbs, obviously, very, very great year last year. He's going to have another baller year. Their offense is so consistent. Derrick Henry, again, with the Ravens, he's just such a big dude. He's always going to be a powerhouse, right? Ashton Jeanty is definitely one to have conversation around because he is a rookie for the Raiders. However, lots of good buzz coming out of preseason and training camp around him. It looks like he's going to be the guy, and he's going to get immediate opportunities for the Raiders offense. The Raiders are also just a little messy right now. So he's a consistent option because they're probably going to have to use the running game quite a bit. The only thing I'm always hesitant on is having a rookie on my team who we don't have any evidence if they're actually going to be really good. It's a gamble for sure, but it could be a gamble that works out well for you. So don't be scared to pick him up for sure. I will say, if you go Jeanty in your first or second round, I would buffer myself with other reliable older running backs or more experienced guys in the league later down my roster. I would definitely be targeting some extra running backs that provide a little cushion just in case that doesn't pan out.
Yes, I think that's a smart move too.
Absolutely.
And then kind of some other guys here. We have Devon Achane. Or Achan, I don't know how to say it.
I think it's Achan. I used to say Achani for a really long time. Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is another one. Jonathan Taylor is a really kind of solid opinion or solid option. He's had some injury in the past. Now the QB situation's a little unknown. We don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Richardson? Is it going to be oh my gosh, I can't say it. Daniel Jones? Really stuttered there. But we got it. But we're going to see him do a lot of work. He's kind of a proven effective back. So yes, he does have frequent injuries, but this could be a really good season for him. Again, I guess depending on what's going on the QB side.
Yeah, absolutely. Bucky Irving is another great guy to look at. Again, showed that he won the job last year for sure. So a really great back. And then CMC himself. Obviously, last year he screwed everyone over. He was my one-on-one. I picked him first in the fantasy football draft for our girls' league. And yeah, he let me down big time. However, yes, he is an older running back. Yes, obviously he's injury prone. We've seen that multiple times throughout his career. He's had a whole ass year off. I have a really good feeling this year. Would I take him early in my picks? No, he'd be a running back I targeted if I was at the end of the draft board. If I was somewhere 6 to 10 or 12, yeah, I'm probably looking at CMC at that point for sure.
If he's dropping there, I agree. Grab him.
Yeah. Now moving on to our wide receivers. Those should be the running backs you see go in the first round. You might see some other guys that we mentioned in 3 or 4 sneak up there. That's fair. Again, the draft is unpredictable, so always keep that in mind. But let's dive into some wide receivers, Ange.
Right. So right off the bat, Jamar Chase is going to be your clear 101, right? He's probably going to be picked number 1. I don't blame anybody for picking him number 1. I think that's the way to go. He is just kind of a solid freaking dude. solid on that Cincinnati offense. Justin Jefferson would be another one that's up there. He does have kind of an injury, so we don't really know what's going to happen. We're still kind of hearing some updates about that. So I'd be a little wary of where you take him. CeeDee Lamb's another one. Malik Neighbors is kind of coming into his second season. Had a pretty solid rookie year. New quarterback. And even last year with kind of the strange quarterback situation, like we like to say, a booty hole quarterback situation. Booty hole, right? Now Russell Wilson stepping in. I don't know. I'm not saying that's any better, but I'm saying that could be a little bit of a shining light. Maybe that Neighbors is going to get a little bit more consistent with his QB, more catches, more numbers, which is good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. A few other good, reliable guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is probably my all-time favorite player in the NFL right now. Yeah. Just seems like a dude, just a good-ass dude, okay?
Right,
But he is so consistent, so he's a great option. Puka Nacua, obviously we don't know the health of Matt Stafford right now. He's dealing with a back injury. People are nervous about Puka, but the ball's got to fucking go somewhere. The only other thing to keep in mind is Devontae Adams is there now as well. So is he going to steal some targets from Puka? Yeah. Absolutely. But Puka is still proven to be that guy. Brian Thomas Jr., he came out hot last year for the Jaguars, about mid-season, only going to have more progress this year. So he's a great snag. Drake London, I really like Drake London near the back of the draft order as well. Again, with the Falcons, new quarterback coming in. Obviously, we know Penix Jr. took over. He'll continue to take over. Drake London did decent last year, and he'll do better this year. I think this is a steal of a wide receiver. Right. This is also a wide receiver that, yes, I've taken the first round and then catch a running back on my second round on the way through for sure.
Yeah. And then to kind of round out wide receivers, we got A.J. Brown and we got Ladd McConkey, probably the greatest name in NFL, Ladd McConkey.
Ladd, I love it.
Should have a little bit of a larger role with Keenan Allen gone. So kind of stepping up, was kind of a newbie last year, but really broke out. I think he's going to continue to do that as he goes into the 2025-26 season.
For sure. And then the only other highlight mentions here in rounds 1 and 2 is quarterback, tight ends. Typically, you're not seeing a lot of quarterbacks or tight ends ever go this early. And a couple things I want you women to keep in mind. Do not panic and think that you need to pick a quarterback now because other people did. Blinders on, eyes on your own motherfucking paper. I don't give a shit what he's doing. You focus on you, okay? Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are likely going to go in the second or third round. Josh Allen, from every mock draft I've seen, from a lot of ADP recommendations, he's probably going to go in the second round. Lamar might as well. You're more than welcome to take them early. My suggestion would be draft or mock draft and take them early and see what happens to your team if you do that. But those are the only 2 quarterbacks you're going to be taking that early. And then we're going to talk about tight ends here too. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. Bowers likely going to go in the second round. Trey McBride, maybe second in some if people reach for him, or the third. These are the only tight ends who are going that early. Don't bait into picking one because you get nervous. Never do that. Stay your course. Other players are more important. These guys are great. But again, you want to mock draft by picking them and see how it shakes out because I've done it. And I hate my team based on where I'm at in my draft order. So do a little bit of that to experiment. But that rounds out our round 1 and 2. So we're going to move into round 3 and 4.
Right. And so you want to kind of, go ahead. No, you want to round out your team based on needs. So basically you're picking the best available player. So no matter the position, best running back, wide receiver, tight end, or even QB here, like Amanda just mentioned before, who might be dropping to that third or fourth round. That's where we're picking up those really solid players. So look at what your roster needs. If you already have a lot of running backs, pick wide receivers, vice versa. And then we're going to kind of go in there. So go ahead and start with some running backs, Amanda, for rounds 3 and 4.
Absolutely. So running backs, we're looking at 3 and 4. We got Kyron Williams, Chase Brown. Chase Brown, I like him too. I think he'd be a great option here. He might fall in the second round, but he's someone, if he falls to the third, take him.
Yes.
We got James Cook. I will say that he had a very great year last year, and I do not think he will repeat that to the high level that he did. So you got to keep that in mind. He had 16 rushing touchdowns last year. That's unheard of.
Insane.
It's an insane amount. I do not think he will perform like that this year. And I think a lot of people, when they're looking at fantasy stats, they're just looking at his stats from last year and not his overall performance over many years.
Right.
And if you look at the average, that his average is much less than what he did last year. So just keep that in mind.
Yes.
Go ahead and round out the running back room there, Ange.
So we got Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, who's a very consistent player, solid floor as a running back, huge upside to round out kind of your running back room. I also have Amari and Hampton kind of on my radar. New coach there who likes powerful running backs. I think he could step into the role. Najee is battling an injury. Oh my gosh, J.K. Dobbins is there as well. So he's kind of fighting for that role as he's a rookie. We got to kind of see what's going to happen there, but he's a big physical runner, kind of tough to tackle, history with catching passes. I think he would be a good pick there. If he can drops for you, obviously grab him. And then Alvin Kamara, who Amanda cannot stop talking about. So I'm just going to let you take Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I think he's a great option. Again, yes, he is older, but he always has great performance as a running back. I think he'd be a great steal in the third or fourth round to really round out your running back room and to give you a really strong option to win. So I love him. He does have a new coach, Kellen Moore, who typically likes to highlight the running back. So that's great news when you're looking at preseason and coach changes. Those are kind of those little tidbits that you're like, does it mean he's going to be heavily used? No, but does it put us in a position where he might be? Absolutely. And we love that.
Makes you a little bit more comfortable picking him.
Absolutely. And then Chuba Hubbard, too. He had a great year last year. He got a big contract. Obviously, he did get hurt. However, great option for a running back this year. Let's do wide receivers.
All right. Moving into wide receivers. JSN, so Jackson Smith Njigba. I know we're not the greatest with names.
We're really bad at pronunciation.
I think I did okay, though. He looks to be a continued focal point for the Seahawks passing game, kind of a really solid wide receiver 2. Upside could be borderline wide receiver 1. I think that with Lockett and DK gone, kind of he comes into the picture just a little bit more. But Sam Darnold is the quarterback, so we got a couple little questions, but I think Darnold kind of showed himself, had some high points last year too, so I wouldn't just see maybe the end of the season or how it panned out, to keep him in mind. And then Tyreek Hill, and then I go to Marvin Harrison, who I really have a great feeling about. I think he's had time to develop as a player. Kyler Murray has kind of gotten a little bit more comfortable as a quarterback. They've meshed together this offseason. I think he's going to have kind of a really good sophomore year. He's going to be a wide receiver 1 on that team and get some massive targets and numbers. I think he's a good pickup here. He is kind of a top tier fantasy receiver. I really honestly think that. And I would love to have him on my team. So I'm going to really watch him in that 3rd, 4th round.
I agree. I also think that you can get Kyler Murray. It's a steal of a quarterback super late in the draft.
Absolutely,
so not a bad stack there either.
That stack is great, right?
Yeah. T. Higgins is obviously that guy. He's a great receiver. He does obviously compete with Jamar Chase, but I've had T. Higgins on my team many years, and that has never been an issue. He is an outright amazing player of his own. Joe Burrow loves to target him. He did get a contract, so hopefully that also helps with him not missing time like he always likes to and doesn't get hurt. Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, all 3 very consistent guys. Only guy that a little worried there in those names is Terry McLaurin because he is currently in kind of a little I want to get traded contract snafu.
Diva
but
mode.
I'm not overly worried. Yeah, wide receivers are a diva, so
they are.
Go ahead, diva it up, baby.
They are.
And then we have Devontae Adams, new team, always that guy, so he's a good target there. Rashee Rice may miss time. This is just one of those things to consider. Doesn't mean you don't pick him. If he falls to you and you want him and you have a good feeling about him, trust your gut, go for it. You just want to make sure that your team can support a guy potentially missing time later in the year. So keep that in mind.
Right. And then kind of to round out that wide receiver 3-4 round, DK Metcalf now on Pittsburgh offense. I have a really good feeling about how DK and Rodgers are going to mesh. You heard it here first. I think it's going to be a magical relationship. But it's a big change from his previous team, previous quarterback. I think he's going to have some consistent value, consistent role, lots of upside with DK Metcalf. I would definitely pick him here or which might be a little bit above his ADP, but I think it's the smart move. So
yeah,
and then
absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Then DJ Moore would be my last kind of to round out 3-4 wide receivers. So
yeah. I also will say, like, I'd probably pass on DJ Moore here and take, I'd rather take a Mike Evans or a Devontae Adams, a DK. I think if you want a piece of the Bears offense, someone like Roma Dunze later in the draft would be someone I look at. Yeah, exactly. He's coming. All right, quarterbacks here in the 3-4. 3, in my opinion, you're looking at Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. All of this matters on where you're drafted on the draft board. If you're a little earlier in the draft, like I am, I'm third in one of my drafts. I'm typically going to miss these 3 guys because they're falling in the either late 3rd or early 4th, and I'm just not going to see that. It won't come back to me in time. But those are the only 3 quarterbacks I choose in that 3-4 round. And then the only tight end in that round would be Kittle himself.
We got to talk about just a little Kittle, but we got to talk about him, right?
Yes, we got a little bit.
I think he's one of the top tight ends out there. I think he's proven that year after year. Debo's left, so that maybe opens up a couple more targets for him. He's expected to have a bigger share of the passing game. He has a really reliable quarterback in Brock Purdy, who, just like Amanda said about Kyler Murray, you could probably get later rounds. So watch out for that. He's a key part of the offense, especially in that red zone. So I think George Kittle is definitely someone to watch for in those later rounds for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Rounds 5 and 6, we are moving on into the next part of the draft, which is depth and upside, we kind of say. So these picks are all about filling out your rosters and grabbing players who could break out, right? We just want to add a little depth to your roster to round everything out. You most likely have most of your starters already picked. These are guys that we're probably going to stash on our bench. They might reveal themselves as a great flex spot down the road. Yes. And we just want to make sure that we're also like looking, hey, some of these guys might be coming back from an injury, rookies ready to shine, underrated veterans, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to start, just like we have always, running backs. Let's dive into the running backs. Right.
So James Conner is kind of at the top here. He is older. He has missed games in the past. Maybe not the most reliable. He might kind of drop a little bit, but he wouldn't be a bad pick. David Montgomery, I think, is a really good, solid choice here. Yes, he's sharing time with Gibbs, but he is a consistent player, has a consistent role on that Lions offense. Lots of end zone opportunities. He's kind of their third down guy, ready to go. They are not afraid to use him in those really tough positions when they really need him to get tough yards. They trust him. He's just a really solid fantasy pick.
Absolutely. And if Gibbs does go down for any reason, who has the most experience in their offense? David Montgomery. Exactly. So he's a no-brainer for me.
Right.
Other guys just to keep in mind, we'll kind of fire through some of these. Joe Mixon, Isaiah Pacheco, obviously, yes, coming off of injury. Joe Mixon's coming off injury as well, I believe.
Yes, correct.
He might just be banged up. Okay. RJ Harvey, which he is a rookie, big playability. He's going to be a rookie on the Broncos. So a guy to keep in mind, I like him. I believe that their running back room right now, it's very up in the air. They have, in preseason games, RJ Harvey has been on the field with Bo Nix in particular, which typically when you see in preseason games, a quarterback and a running back on the field at the same time, that shows you a little bit of the hand of what they might be doing in the future. And so I think he's a great snag here on the off chance he does become the number 1 back. Aaron Jones, Travion Henderson. So 2 names here, 2 very different players. Aaron Jones, old. He's a little bit older. I would probably skip on him. I would rather pull Jordan Mason later down the draft board. Aaron Jones, Viking running back. Jordan Mason is just joined the Vikings team. And I have a feeling that at some point later in the year, Jordan Mason on your bench is going to be a starter. Yeah. And then Travion Henderson. We love him. I don't think he'll fall this late in the draft. So we have him on our draft board at 5 to 6. I have a feeling he's going to go earlier than that. Yeah. Again, mock draft. See if there's any opportunity for you to take him without aggressively reaching. I'm drafting in the beginning of the draft board. I'm not reaching for him. Anytime I tried to get him, I would have to take him so fucking early, and I'm just not willing to do that. Even though I would kill to have him on my team, but maybe I'll get myself into a trade for him later in the year.
Hey, there you go.
But he is going to take over the backfield for sure. So wide receivers, hit us with it.
All right, Cortland Sutton is in his second year with Bo Nix. I think that's a good duo. Only assume that they're going to just make more connections, and hoping that he can kind of bring back some of his 2023 self and that 10 TD season he had. Come on, Cortland, you can do it. Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy. Now, a rookie here, and I'm not even going to try his name, Tet or something. Tet McMillan. We're just going to call him Tet
our
or
boy
McMillan.
Tet.
Our boy Tet. Good feeling. He could go a little bit higher. I think he's got a good amount of buzz around him. He's a big physical wide receiver. He's kind of poised to take it into that role. I think he's really going to step up for the team. Bryce Young is his quarterback. Going to kind of make some good connections and just really be, I think, a good standout this season. So,
yeah,
Tet.
Absolutely. Tet himself. We got Jalen Waddle on a new team. He's there. He's very injury prone. So just keep that in mind too. Calvin Ridley, I think this is a great snag deeper in your draft. So in rounds 5 or 6, I think Calvin Ridley is a guy to definitely keep your eye on. New quarterback, yes. However, he was great with an uncertain Mayo 11 quarterback last year. He crushed the game. So just keep in mind that Calvin Ridley can pull in those targets. And if Cam Ward does show himself as an amazing quarterback, which everyone anticipates him to, this could be a great guy to have on your team. Jerry Jeudy, the Judester. He is one of those wide receiver 1 for Cleveland.
I think that's a 10-foot pole. Stay away.
Well, you know what? If you feel good about Jerry Jeudy, if you want a piece of the Browns offense, because maybe you think Flacco is really going to be that guy, and help out. Flacco does love to throw the ball. Okay. Yep. So I think there's 2 players from the Browns team that I would even look at, and it would be Jerry Jeudy, and it would potentially be David Njoku later in the draft.
Yes.
Maybe the rookie running back that could be potentially an option, but those are the players. George Pickens on a new offense. There has been a lot of good buzz coming out between him and Dak connecting. Obviously, yes, he's always going to share targets with CeeDee Lamb, but again, this is a guy to look at as well. Personally, yes, I'm biased. I'm a Steelers fan. I don't want him. I wouldn't touch George Pickens with a 10-foot pole because I think he causes issues as a player, but that's just my personal opinion.
He's like a diva.
Oh, level 10 diva, man.
Yeah, level 10. Some QBs to kind of look at in this round would be Bo Nix, who we've highly mentioned in this round with some of his receivers. Baker Mayfield, if he were to drop here and I was able to snag him here, which I don't think might happen, I would grab him in a minute. I think Mayfield is a great quarterback, or even Mahomes, who throws some really great passes, makes some really good plays. Those would be kind of our QBs in that 5-6 range.
Absolutely. And then tight ends in that range. Once we get this deep into tight ends, I'm going to be honest, at this point, most of these tight ends from Sam Laporta down are going to be very similar in point scoring.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get a huge cutting edge by taking one of these guys. So again, this is where I'll remind you, don't get baited into, oh my God, I haven't taken a tight end yet. Everyone else says I should take one now. You can wait. It's not a big deal. It's not that deep. The only 2 tight ends that are going in 5 and 6, in my opinion, Sam Laporta and TJ Hawkinson.
Right.
Other than that, I would just wait. If they don't fall to you, if you don't want to take one, if you don't have a good feeling about those guys, pass on them. Take a tight end later in your draft. It'll all buff out. You can always stream that, which means if you get a later tight end who just doesn't end up performing, you can just change that position out week over week. Or maybe somebody shows their hand and you could pull somebody off a waiver. So don't panic frick ever. Okay, cool.
All right, so let's go into round 7 and 8. This is the round where you're finding those upside picks, those handcuffs for your running backs. Really good opportunities here. Sometimes people get a little bit panicky here. We are here to tell you to stay calm. I'm going to give you some guys to have on your list, so get that pen ready. So basically, you're picking, like I said, backups, top players to handcuffs to top players. There's a lot of sleepers in round 7 and 8, players who could exceed expectations. Those handcuffs are there to protect your running backs, and the sleepers give you potential to kind of really have that league-winning upside. That's where mid-season we start seeing teams shine, because now we got guys who are really performing at an upper level, right? So to, again, start with some running backs in round 7 and 8, we have DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. I think it's coming off a really, really solid year. Outside of injury, Tajay Spears has an injury currently, so I think Pollard is going to take most of that backfield. We have Brian Robinson, Quinshon Judkins, who could potentially take over the backfield. Now, we're going to kind of keep an eye on him. They still have Jerome Ford, so you might consider him in this later round here, and he might be solid kind of in the future. Again, put him on the bench, see what happens. But again, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know because it's so uncertain.
If you're taking a shot on the guy, I'd go Quinshon Judkins over Jerome Ford. Because at this point, you're just taking a shot. They're not going to your starting lineup. Take the shot on him and see how it goes. Other guys to consider taking a shot on, Tyrone Tracy. The other running back for the Giants is currently injured. So this is a great option to look at in potentially drafting later in your rounds. We've got Caleb Johnson. He is a running back for the Steelers. However, just keep in mind that they have listed Jaylen Warren as the starter. Right. So they have come out and said he is going to lead that backfield. It doesn't mean Caleb Johnson might not take over later, but there has been some rumors coming out that he struggled with pass protecting currently. So just keep that in mind that is something that's out there. He might split carries. He might take over the backfield. He might always stay behind Jaylen Warren because Jaylen Warren is very consistent on taking check down passes, and Rodgers might need to do that quite often.
What do you call Jaylen Warren? A little bowling ball?
Oh, the little bowling ball himself. Yeah. Every time he comes up, I'm like, no, I just have an attachment to Jaylen Warren, and it's very hard to take the emotional side. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan. So is Ange. However, he just again, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he just seems like a good ass dude. And so I cheer for my little bowling ball no matter what. Only other running back here, Travis Etienne. Yeah, I would go with other options in this round. I'm looking at Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson, Tyrone Tracy over Travis Etienne, but that's just my opinion.
And then going into wide receivers. So Jacoby Myers, on that Raiders team, new quarterback, could really have the receiving core is light, so he could be kind of that shining star. Khalil Shakir, I did it. I said it right. Chris Olave, it is. Chris Olave, I don't know if I would really have him on my radar. You can kind of make a cool team name with Olave Garden Breadsticks, but that's just saying. I know concussion risk, so I wouldn't really draft him. Jordan Addison's here as well, but is kind of facing that suspension, so don't know if that's the best pick either. I would say my overall wide receiver here in this round would be Rome Odunze. I would keep him on my radar. I would make a note of him. I think DJ Moore is going a little bit too high. Amanda mentioned that earlier. You can get him at a great value. You can get Odunze at a great value. He had a decent rookie season. He's continuing to build chemistry with Caleb Williams. He has a little bit of competition for targets, but I think that he's really has some potential here. So you can maybe call him a sleeper here. I would kind of keep him on your radar.
Yeah. See, my guy, Jacoby Myers, all day. That's who I would pick in this round. If he falls to me, that's who I'm going with. Other guys to be able to look out for, Chris Godwin. He is coming off an injury. He's most likely going to miss time still for said injury. So just keep that on the radar. Deebo Samuels is now in a new offense with Jaden Daniels. I really also like Deebo here. He is a little bit older for sure, but he is a freaking giant, and it's just really hard to miss that man when you're passing the ball. So I think that sets him up for success. And a little Terry McLaurin Dormant. Trying to remember the scary Terry drama. Also might leave Deebo up for a little bit more play potential. So I like him here. Stephon Diggs, again, into a new offense. Cooper Kupp into a new offense. Great options, reliable, veteran wide receivers, right?
Yep.
Rookie guy here, Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
I really wanted to make the golden shower joke really bad, but come on, how funny would that team name be, though? A little bit fucking funny.
That would be good. I mean, I would be there for it. I'd be here for it. I would be a little cringy, but
if you have a raunchy ass league, or maybe you're the only woman on an all-male league, and you just come up, you draft Matthew Golden, you name your team golden shower, you might get some chuckles. Okay,
just run with it. If you do it, let us know, because we want to know that fact.
I think he's a good option. He's a late round rookie, right? He might do nothing in the Packers offense, okay? But he might do a lot. There's a lot of different options for that offense. So it's a risk for sure. I wouldn't mind picking it up, though, on the off chance that he becomes a bang or bust player is what I call this. So what I mean by that is he could put up 0 points, okay?
Right.
Or he could get all of the big targets and score 20, 30 points off of a couple passes.
Right.
So that is an option. He's there later round, rounding out your draft board.
Yeah. And that's the time to do it. It's the time to kind of make those kind of risk it for the biscuit moment picks. But
absolutely.
Going into tight ends, Mark Andrews, we kind of had a questionable year last year, but again, we're erasing our minds of that. We're going into the new season. Isaiah Likely is hurt. So Mark Andrews is going to step up a little in the beginning of the season. So think he's a good pick here. Travis Kelce. I know people probably roll their eyes. Oh God, Travis Kelce. I would say, as Ohio natives, born and bred, do not underestimate the determination of an Ohio person, right? We are grit. We are gonna grind it out. That's me and Amanda's pretty much whole childhood is just kind of watching our parents grind it out and do the thing. People are doubting him. I think he's out to prove everyone wrong, right?
I do
He's a
too.
reliable Mahomes target. I don't think that's going to change. I think he can step up and continues to step up in big games.
Agreed.
I would say he's a safe, reliable tight end. If you're in this round looking for a tight end, do not overlook Kelce, even,
No.
he's old, but
Yes.
he is
Just
reliable. He really is.
absolutely. Super reliable. I'm just going to say, like, don't take him early. Okay.
No,
He's not an elite tight end anymore, but he's
no.
a solid tight end.
Right.
Just don't take him early. I know. He's dating Taylor Swift. I think that's very cool too. However, don't let that shiny object syndrome get to you.
Yeah.
We have to play without our emotions. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Other two tight ends to look at in this round, 7, 8, Evan Ingram. Again, I think he's solid. I probably wouldn't take him until about the 8th, though. Mm-hmm. Tyler Warren, rookie tight end for the Colts. Think he's going to have a spectacular year. That is all us assuming. Great buzz coming out of training camp, though. And I believe that he will find a very good spot and a very good consistent target for the Colts offense as well.
Right. And some kind of moving into quarterbacks, these are some guys you might want to start thinking about now, especially with any wide receivers that you may have picked up in earlier rounds. So Brock Purdy or even tight ends like George Kittle, right? Brock Purdy might be a really great option here. Kyler Murray, depending on who you have, might be a really great option. Mm-hmm. Same with Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, great picks. If you have, Amanda, I think would agree. If you have St. Brown, you got to stack him with Jared Goff. I mean, it's gotta be, or even, Gibbs, because he has that pass catching ability. I think Jared Goff's is a really solid pick here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what I'll say too about as you're getting down this draft board, tight ends, quarterbacks, pick one of these guys. You could always pick someone with like at the very end of your draft as a backup here. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to take Brock Purdy or Kyler Murray, but then with my very last pick before my defense and kicker, maybe I take a rookie or another quarterback, just have on my bench just in case. Totally fine to do that. You don't only have to draft one quarterback and one tight end. But what I will say, don't draft more than 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends.
Right.
And if you are going to take an elite tight end, do not even think about taking another tight end until we're getting way down this draft board. Maybe not even till 9 or 10. Same thing goes with quarterbacks. So just, again, keep that in mind for strategy. That way you're not taking a quarterback, an elite quarterback early and then a midline quarterback. You're not going to have a well-rounded team. And that's what we mean about rounding out your team. Be careful with it. Make sure it happens. All right, rounds 9 and 10, we are value hunting at this point. So we are just looking for like, what players do we think are overlooked? What players do we think are going to have a breakout season? These picks can win or lose your week to week. So These are things that you just want to be on the lookout for. So we'll start with running backs again.
So running backs, like we talked about early, Jaylen Warren could be that solid guy for you, right? He looks like he is, like Amanda said, listed as the number 1 back. Now Johnson kind of could give him a run for his money, but again, we don't know that. He's been struggling with pass coverage, but he could be a really great value later in the draft. Then we go to a rookie. So Cam Scatterbo, Giants running back, more powerful back. Love his name. Can't stop talking about his name. He's not as fast as other running backs in the league, but he does have, and it's the big but does have big potential, dealing with a hamstring injury right now. So likely he will really not hold a really big running back role. So, Tracy or Singletary will kind of step into that role. But like Amanda said, not bad to have on that bench to pop him in later if he's going to pop off.
Absolutely. Javonte Williams, Jordan Mason, I already talked about him. I think that's a good steal here. Ramondre Stevenson, maybe. J.K. Dobbins, injury risk through and through, maybe. Zach Charbonnet as well. So those are going to round out your running backs here in the later rounds.
Right. And then into wide receivers, we have Juwan Jennings, Emeka Egbuka. Love him. I think that if you could get him in a stack, he would be a great value. He will end up going earlier. We really think he's going to end up going earlier, right? Earlier than where we have him in many drafts. So again, like Amanda said, play out that mock draft situation, see where you can grab him. Ricky Pearsall, I think I mean, if you could get shot and then just come back into the NFL,
Ricky.
I think you a freaking badass.
I know
so
it.
Ricky is that dude for me. So he's one of the few wide receivers on the 49ers that's not injured. So he would be a solid steal. Late draft pick with a ton of upside. Good buzz coming out of training camp. Do not sleep on him, Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky, I wanted to say Ricky, but I don't know. I was going somewhere and I couldn't get there. And the name wasn't good. Anyways, we got Jaden Reed, again, a banger bust situation, in my opinion. Josh Downs. Now, I do like Josh Downs. He is dealing with an injury. Just came out at preseason or in practice this week. He is dealing with a hamstring injury. So just keep your eye on that whenever you're drafting to make sure you have all the information at hand. Brandon Ayuk, again, dealing with an injury at the beginning part of the season, so he's going to miss time early. These are people who are sitting on your bench anyway. So if you have a good feeling about what Ayuk's going to do, he was doing great last year before he got injured. So option there. Michael Pittman, I don't know, Petty Pittman. I don't like Michael Pittman this year. I didn't like Michael Pittman last year. Unfortunately, I did have him on my team for far too long, and he really did absolutely nothing with any of the quarterbacks that cycled through the Colts. No. So just not an option for me. Keon Coleman is an option for me. Yes. I love Keon Coleman. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I think he's going to be a high target for Josh Allen. After that rookie year that was less than impressive, got injured, I think he's coming in hot personally.
Right. And then moving into tight ends, here's where we have Njoku. He is just like a big athletic dude who gets a lot of freaking opportunities, consistent fantasy producer. He is a great late value tight end for you. He can also kind of act as a really good receiver there too. They're not afraid to kind of pass bombs to him. There's a messy QB situation though, so you got to kind of keep that into effect. The Browns just never can figure out that QB room. But in the past, he struggled with QBs and still made some really reliable catches and really some reliable games have happened. So I wouldn't sleep on Njoku either, and don't let the QB room kind of overshadow his ability.
Agreed. Jonnu Smith, obviously he did shift from Miami to the Steelers offense. He did well at Miami late in the year last year. He was a league winner for a lot of guys. So I think he's a good option. I'm not sure if he will dominate over Freiermuth or not. The Muth might stay. We don't know. We'll see though. Colston Loveland, rookie. Dalton Kincaid. He's been with the Bills forever. Don't know how I feel about that, but he's there. And then Kyle Pitts.
Petty Pitts.
Petty, stinky Petty Pitts. Listen, the only way you're picking up Kyle Pitts is if you have another tight end already on your board and you, for some godforsaken reason, believe the hype that it's actually going to be his fucking year, like it has been for the last 3 goddamn years. I hate Kyle Pitts. Okay, so ran over other tight ends, Jake Ferguson, Tucker Kraft. Again, all these guys are really going to be scoring so close to each other until we get into the season and figure it out. So any of those options would work.
Right. So then at this point, when we're looking at quarterbacks, you want to kind of look at this point, who does or does not have them, right? Meaning who does or does not have a quarterback in general. So if mostly everyone has a quarterback at this point, the pick becomes less urgent. So depending on where you draft, you might choose to wait around or snag a QB later, since the pool of elite QBs is more questionable here. And again, this is where streaming quarterbacks come into play throughout your season. Do not be scared of that. We have Dak Prescott here. He is a good QB. He does throw, really, really great balls, but he has a lot of injury, and that worries everybody. But maybe having Pickens or having CD on your team might be solid, because that's kind of where you're going to get your stack at. And, but essentially after, QBs, you're favoring based off your roster thus far and who you might be able to stack strategically, right? Look at your roster. Who can you stack? So for more, oh my gosh, potential upside, right? Here we go. We're back.
Absolutely. So you just want to make sure this is where that strategy of looking at what other people have already done in your draft comes in handy. So you're okay, most of the teams already have a quarterback or 2 quarterbacks. So instead of wasting a pick on this quarterback who likely will fall back to me, I'll wait a minute. And if he doesn't fall back to me, I'll figure the fuck out later. Everything's figure outable, right? But that is our rounds. What was that? 9 and 10? 9 and 10. Yep. So we're moving 11, 12, 13. These are the last 3 most important rounds before our final 2 rounds, which is just defense and kicker. And to be very honest, we're not going to go over a ton in 14 and 15. So defense, kicker, punting that decision. Get it? Punt.
Good pun.
The last 2 rounds. Okay, so
that was a
fillers
pun.
And it was a punty pun. Fillers and IR stashes. So this is 11, 12, 13. You're taking high upside players who may not start immediately. You're taking risks on guys. This is a great time to either grab rookies or backups of running backs, wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Also, could be another place if you're like, you know what, I took an elite tight end and screw it. I have a lot of running backs and wide receivers I can rely on. Maybe I'll take a second one super late here. Same thing with the quarterback. If you want to take another one because you just have a good feeling and you'd rather have him on your team if he does bust out, options here. Dive into some quick running backs for us here, Ange.
Running backs, we got Jaden Blue. He's a rookie. He's dealing with some injuries, but we'll see how it pans out. Again, with Tajay Spears dealing with an injury, see how that pans out. Oh my gosh, another injury. Najee Harris dealing with an injury. So, but they might have high upside later in the season. Mm-hmm. Tank Bigsby, have a lot of unknown with ETN. Don't really know how he's going to perform. So Bigsby might be a good pick. New coach. At this point, he would be a good pick. Just kind of betting on how he's going to do throughout the season and how everyone else is going to do. And then lastly, we got some Nick Chubb. Not sure how I feel confident-wise about him. Rashad White and Austin Eckler to kind of round out our running back choices for this round.
Absolutely. And then wide receivers here, again, these are guys that we just have good feelings about. Jaden Higgins, Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed. I love this pick here. This is such a late draft steal, and I think he's going to have a great, great year. We still have no idea who the fuck the QB1's going to be. They still haven't announced it yet, so we don't know. But again, his season was cut short by a knee injury. He was projected to have a massive year. He was doing really well before that, so I think he's a steal here. Other guys just to keep on your radar. Marvin Mims, Trey Harris, Luther Burden. Why do I like that name? Luther Burden.
Sounds like a villain.
Lex Luthor. That's what it reminds me of.
Yes.
Luther Burden, Kyle Williams, Old Man Adam Thielen.
Old Man Adam
Thielen. Christian Kirk, Keenan Allen. Old. Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman's a very banger bust player, in my opinion. Yeah. It's very hard with a player like him because you just never know when the fuck to start him. And it's the week you put him on your bench that he has a 30-point week. It happens every time. Jack Beach. The Raiders wide receiver room is very thin. We talked about that earlier with Jacoby Myers. So keep that in mind. He could be a great player. Now, obviously, Brock Bowers does act as basically a tight end wide receiver for them. Right. But again, he could be a really great sneaky snag here later in the draft, which I would love.
Right. And then super late round quarterback potentials with some upside. Jordan Love, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, see how he performs this year. I think, have some good feedback from him so far. CJ Stroud, he had a sophomore slump, but kind of hoping he can come back and show us, kind of show us up from his first year. Cam Ward, I think, like Amanda said, I think has really great potential, can take some risks. Bryce Young, again, really great potential this year to just kind of really do the damn thing and kind of be really reliable. Good late round QB steals there.
The only thing I'll say is, again, with these late round quarterbacks, these potentially probably wouldn't be my only guys. Sure. Hopefully, if you're taking a quarterback at this point, you already have one. That way you can kind of buffer out the risk. So again, like JJ McCarthy, Cam Ward, Bryce Young, they're risks. We don't know. I mean, all of these guys really are, because they might have great years, they might not. So hopefully you have another one. If you don't have another one, I'm probably looking at someone who has played experience before I take a rookie as my only quarterback that I'm playing. If you're in just a normal flex league, if you're in a super flex league, that changes the opinion a little bit. But we are speaking more of just traditional flex leagues here. So late round tight ends to look at. Isaiah Likely, he is hurt right now, but they were projecting him to be the primary tight end. So I have a feeling that when he comes back, he will take that over. So it'd be great to stash on your bench. You got room. Hunter Henry, again, could stash if you got room for him. Worried that Diggs will take some targets away from Hunter Henry, but he was connecting great with Drake May in his rookie season. Drake May is only advancing. I think the New England Patriots will come out and be a far more elite team than they have in years past since Tom Brady ditched them. So I have a feeling they'll be good this year. Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, 2 other tight ends to look at too. Old. Oh, yeah. But you know what? Zach Ertz did well for me last year. I loved him for a while.
Solid. He is solid.
So yeah, rounds 14 and 15, that is just our final 2 rounds. You're picking a kicker, you're picking a defense. I don't think that needs too much explaining. No. Don't overthink it. I've seen some people talk about taking those players a little bit earlier because there are some kickers who will score you big points. Like Chris Boswell, how many points did he score you a couple games? 20?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, an insane amount for a kicker and was just insane. Right.
Yeah, absolutely, which is great. But in my opinion, that could happen. Not is going to happen. So I'd rather take a wide receiver than take a quarterback that early, in my opinion.
Take a chance on one of those main outlier guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that is all we got for episode number 3. We appreciate you all. We did it. That's a wrap. A little bit of a longer episode this week, but guys, I really wanted you to feel confident and comfortable and have the full understanding of what you're walking into and what names you're going to be seeing. That way you're like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know. Pick him. This way you have a little bit of familiarity with some names you're going to be seeing as you move down that draft board. And like we always say, pick. Calm down. Don't panic pick. Don't get baited into a pick that you have no business making. No. Follow the draft board. Yeah. You have 2 minutes, okay? It's not that deep. Relax. It'll be okay. As always, if you love this episode, subscribe. It helps us out a ton. It's free to do so. You can also follow us on social media. Let's Talk Football Sis on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. Again, following us for free and helps us tremendously. We also have exclusive content going out all about draft strategy, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. And next week, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we are doing a little mock draft madness. So Amanda and I are going to go head to head. We're going to do a mock draft. We're going to show you positions and in the actual positions that we will have in our league this year. So we're going to give you a front row seat to see who we're targeting, how we're building our rosters, strategic moves we'd be making, some maybe not so strategic moves on my end because I'm more of the go with the flow person, but you don't want to miss it. So make sure you are tuning in next week for the mock draft madness. Love mock draft madness. Let's do it.
I love it. Well, again, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
See you next week. See ya.